Okay, Bob, we're going to have several videos, but I'll start off with this first one. We did the dip test today. The very good news is that you do have a no-soak bottom. 5200 variety, it appears. You have a layer of plywood here. Show them the inner layer. You have an inner layer of plywood. It would have been diagonal planks, which I'm not sure I got an example of diagonal planks I can show you, but I can refer you to some on the internet. But anyway, so
the little bit of water that's in there, I think, came around the exhaust as I was backing it in the water. So
yeah. Now, planks, do the side planks look like they've been bedded?
No.
Okay. So
now anyway, they got something on them.
Could be just
maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Okay, so the good news is you've got a no-soak bottom. So that's
and the good news is the engine runs.
Yeah, the engine runs. We're getting ready to do a compression test on it, but didn't give them any trouble. The only thing that did give them trouble is that the
water pump
is not pumping water, and it is a rubber impeller style pump, we think.
Yeah, we haven't tore into it yet.
So
it's got the grease fitting like it would be a gear pump, but
I can't see it.
We've had one before that had the grease fitting on it, and it had rubber impellers. So
the rubber impellers only last 2 seasons max anyway. So that's a pretty standard. Every 2 years, if we find an rubber impeller in there, we replace it. Every 2 years, you need to replace it. So, but that bottom on this boat, if we were putting a bottom on this boat, it's $1,200 a foot. So times, I forgot what the length is, 17, 18 foot, $1,200 a foot. You know, that's a $20,000 package that you've got already in this boat. Now, unfortunately, it's like you can't add that to the sales price of this thing should you ever decide to sell it, because it's like putting a roof on your house that needs a roof. If your roof's leaking and you got to put a roof on, and then you go to sell your house later, you can't put the cost of the roof on there because that's your ticket to the dance. You're having a roof, man. You know, you only get about half of that back, but it does have a higher value than another boat of the same model. It doesn't have 5200 bottom, so that's good news. So the bottom is no issue. Matter of fact, my son said the hull is dry. Taylor, he'll tell you it's dry.
Yeah. Except for whatever water came in around the exhaust when I was backing in, but other than that, it's.
Yeah, and we can put a little talk around that. That's not a big deal at all. It's not even worth mentioning, really. I mean, as far as cost goes.
Yeah.
So let me.
I wouldn't even worry about it.
Let me
really.
show you a few more things that we know.
I'm going to show the wiring.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
One thing I want to show too is the wiring.
Wiring's functional.
It's functional, but it's just
a mess.
Yeah, it's gobbled up. It's a bird's nest all the way around. You know, I got all these connections straight to the battery. You know, like your hot going to your fuse panel, and really that should be coming off your starter and going to. I don't know. It looks like you got one of each coming from each. So I really don't know what's going on just yet, but it's functional.
It's functional, so you may not want to do anything with it, but the drummer doesn't.
Yeah, and then under here we've got
you may want
wires are hanging out, and it's just getting caught. I looked underneath here to make sure that everything was wired in to where if I hit the key switch, or if I hit the start button, and I could shut the engine off with the key switch and not just keep running on me. But it's just a bird's nest. Everything's just kind of hanging in here, and wires are too long, so it's kind of wrapped up, and however they can get it wrapped up and zip tied. So we can really clean that up a lot. And there's a lot of spade connectors, and spade connectors, I know by experience, can be a bad thing. And throw a life jacket under there, and a spade connector comes off, and then you.
Yeah, spade connector is actually not legal anymore.
Yeah,
you got to have a ring terminal. Which means that it can't slide out from underneath the screw if the screw gets a little bit loose. The spade connector looks like this. It looks like a spade, and so if the screw gets a little bit loose, the spade can slide right off the screw. With a ring terminal, the ring's all the way around the screw. The screw's got to come all the way out for the terminal to come off. So we ought to be correcting those things for you. We ought to we'll figure in some time to correct those things. Go ahead and show them the condition of the side panels, because that was one of the things we talked about, taking the
ceiling boards
out.
Oh, the ceiling boards are in pretty good shape. I mean, you got
some pretty good scratches right there.
You could doll them up if you wanted to a little bit also, but for the most part, they're in pretty good shape. But
yep, so we'll show you that.
That's just an option. We can take care of those scratches with the couple maintenance coats of varnish.
Show them the boogers on the where the snap hit the arch. Because we didn't notice that the day I picked it up, but I didn't have a cover on it, so I know we didn't do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's the same kind of gum as we got
on the hatch.
On top of the hatch. So we'll modify your cover so that the poles, the snaps aren't anywhere near pieces of wood. We'll have a snap maybe in the center here, because you got a tent pole that holds your cover up and makes your cover where it will shed water. So we'll move those and take the snaps out of your cover where they're over the top of wood.
Show them bow stop.
All right, bow stops next. So actually, a lot of your problems we had difficulty with today, other than the water pump, and that's not a big deal, is with the trailer. You'll notice that how these fenders. Take a look at these fenders. They're nice and even, pretty even around over the tires. By the way, this back tire on the port side, this left side, Taylor said that it didn't make any noise. It was cool all the way down to the lake, but once they got to the lake, this guy wanted to it's making a squeaking noise going into the water, so we're going to check your bearings. But going to the fenders on the other side, your bunk bracket is placed slightly different on the other side of the trailer, and the bunk bracket right here is interfering with the fender, and you can see the fender is just about ready to rub the tires. I know I drove it all the way home from Indiana, and you drove it all the way home from Wisconsin, but it's probably something you want to go ahead and correct. The other problem that they had was at the boat ramp, the bow of the boat wanted to get caught underneath, well, couldn't get caught because they're paying attention, but it wanted to go underneath this bow stop. So I would recommend a bow stop, if I got one close by, that I've built. Beans. Where's Bean at? Oh, Bean's over in the... Anyway, I'll show you a picture of a bow stop. We ought to fix your bow stop. That takes about a day. It's about $600, but you're going to tear up the front of your boat if you don't do something about your bow stop.
Well, and it kept wanting to get crossways on the rollers too.
And
so,
yeah,
which would gouge your bottom plane.
If you get just a little bit off center, and you got a little bit target here to hit. My targets are about 3 foot wide. You'll see it. But anyway, you got a little bit target here, and if this gets off to one side or the other, you're gonna gouge the bow of your boat here on all of this hardware right here. So you don't want to do that.
Moving quite a bit too.
Yeah. So we might even, the other thing we might even want to do is put what we call target bunks on the trailer. So you may want to do that. Other than that, the metals are a little bit dull. This metal can get shined up real nice with about a day's labor. Also, there's supposed to be a piece of wood. Oh, and also, these have been put on with flathead screws. These are supposed to be oval head screws. This is an amateur mistake. So I'm surprised that, I don't know. I'm surprised about a few things that I see on this boat. But anyway,
it's kind of squiggly too, so we could actually straighten it up quite a bit.
Yeah. So this is supposed to have a piece of wood underneath it, so that if this did smash up against the dock, the wood helps maintain the shape of the stainless. Also, you can see these little bubbles of varnish that have come out from underneath the stainless. That stainless is not actually supposed to touch the side of the boat. It's supposed to be just a few thousandths off the side of the boat and suspended by the wood I'm talking about. We'll take your numbers off and your graphics back here, because you're going to be re-registering in Indiana anyway. And this is real gold leaf. That's been laminated on a vinyl that can be cut in a vinyl sign machine. This is Let's Pretend. This is a low quality Let's Pretend gold leaf that can be cut in a vinyl machine. Matter of fact, if you look really close, you'll see some old cuts that were never pulled out. And there is some vinyl now that's available on the market. This stuff runs like $5 a foot. This stuff runs like $30 a foot. Actually, probably close to $40 a foot. So the Let's Pretend stuff looks very, very good. What you've got up here is called engineered turned. It's not even gold leaf. It never would have been done this way back in the day. This would have been done with real gold leaf, which we don't even want to entertain how much that costs. I have to get a guy out of eastern Kentucky. It costs like $500 just to get him over here and get him home, and then he's still got to do the work. So, you know, we don't want to go there. But these graphics would run, you know, $200, $250, something like that, to do something nice. And we'll take a picture of the back of your boat, and then we'll overlay the graphics that aren't even cut yet. We'll overlay them electronically on the back of your boat and let you do a proof. So anyway, and I think you wanted to get rid of the city, but maybe leave the 1953 on here. But at any rate, the other spot, of course, on the engine hatch where there was some wood damage is right here, and that was just snaps beaten up and down while it was being transported. So anyhow, and of course we'll take a picture when we get it inside and can get the laser on this, but I can just about guarantee you that from point A here, where your boot stripe line is, to point B over here is not a straight and level line as we would have identified with a laser. That is probably, well, we'll fix that for you. So we'll probably be bringing up the copper in this area right here, farther up the side of the boat. But I don't guess the laser is going to fit. I don't guess we'd be able to see the laser in this overcast, probably. Even though it's overcast, probably still couldn't see it. The other thing I would suggest for your trailer is loading guides on the back of the trailer. It keeps the back of the boat centered when you're at the boat ramp. So the easier you can load, let's put it this way: the safer you can load, the less money it's going to cost you in the long run. You can either spend your money on repairs, or you can spend your money on the trailer work that we're recommending. The only thing we didn't do was take it out and run it at speed. We didn't get it off the trailer and take it and run it at speed. So there could potentially be a transmission slippage issue, which is a 15-minute adjustment if that was to be the case.
His reverse is like super tight.
Yeah. The reverse is super tight.
Super tight.
But it locks in.
Locks in, but it's super tight. And he's got like I don't know how much play for neutral, but it locks in the forward. So, but I didn't mess with it. We didn't have a water hooked up to it, else I would have ran it.
Yeah, and the reason we didn't run it, was because we had no cooling water, so we've got to address the water pump issue to start with, and that's usually, well, if it's an impeller, it's a couple $100. If it's a pump, oh my God, it could be $600-700. So yeah, it's kind of an oh my God deal. But anyway. Not in the grand scheme of things, but these water pumps they were never made in huge quantities, and of course they've become obsolete, and so they're very expensive. Even a rebuild pump can be $600-700. So anyway, what do you think about the prop? What do you think about the prop?
Small. That's a good shape.
Yep. We'll verify that that's the right prop for this engine. It does appear to be way small, but we'll verify that it's the right prop. That's the other thing we'll do. And
little dings, but I don't think you're really going to be able to tell.
But we can, yeah.
Vibration, really. I don't think you're going to be able to tell it. Nothing major. This gear's bent back just a little bit on the edge. Got a little roll in it.
We probably ought to have the prop evaluated, and if it doesn't have to do any work on it, that's a $50 job plus postage. If he's got to do any work on it, that could run between $100 and $150. $150 if we polish it. So we'll verify it's the right one. We're going to pull it off. We'll have it verified that it's balanced. I don't have an eye for it, but as I look at it, I'm thinking that we may have some bending going on. But again, I don't have an eye for it. Other people can look at these props and say, you got this problem or that problem. I just don't have an eye for it. We'll just send it off to the pros for evaluation. All right, that is it, sir. So I think we're in good shape with the original plan, and we just got this one little bobble here that we got to take care of on the water pump. Thank you.